All right, if Republicans want to take back the Senate, it's 50-50 right now. All signs, once again, to point to Georgia being a major factor. You've got right now an incumbent Democratic Senator, Raphael Warnock. He's being challenged by Herschel Walker. Trump endorsed him. He won the primary. And a new ad came out today by Walker's opponents featuring his ex-wife saying the following about the former football player.
His eyes would become very evil. The guns and knives. I got into a few choking things with him. The first time he held the gun to my head, he held the gun to my temple and said, he was going to blow my brains out.
You know, Lindsay, I've been doing this a long time. You see an ad like that at first blush and you go, wow, that is powerful. And in a lot of cases, it would be extremely damning. But there's so much more to that ad that you don't know until you start to peel it back.
Yeah, that's right. It's framed up in a way that you only see her, which I think is important, and you peel it back, and there's a lot more to this story. And to your point, you listen to that, and if you're uninformed about what's actually going on, you think, this is terrible. This is awful. It's his ex-wife there speaking, her own words, her own image.
Well, and you would assume that that's current, that she's coming after him. Yeah. She doesn't support him. That's the assumption that the viewer is left with. There is a lot more to the actual interview, when and how that was done, that the viewer does not get to see. But clearly, Herschel Walker's political opponents don't really care, and they're trying to make hay of that interview. And frankly, when you do understand the full context of it, it's really disgusting what they're trying to do with that interview that his ex-wife gave.
And I think this just shows how important this state is when you have the incumbent, as you mentioned, Raphael Warnock, coming out. It's going to get ugly. People said that. Now we're seeing this actually come into fruition, how ugly this is looking that they're framing up. Obviously, we're hoping to talk to Herschel Walker in just a moment here, but I think they're playing dirty, and this is ultimately a picture of what that looks like, trying to pull anything they can and framing it in a way that is damning.
Yeah, and especially you think, not just that, but to your point, how, not just Georgia, but within Georgia, how important female voters are going to be, and the barbs that are going to get traded. And this isn't, from his campaign. This is an outside group that is going after Walker, right? And the thing that was interesting, and we're going to ask Walker about this, is that at the time, Herschel Walker was promoting a book. He had been dealing with mental health. He had gone out, gotten a bunch of mental health. And if you think about this, for a big athlete like him, talking about how he had sought mental health was a big deal. And he wanted to shine light on the mental health issue, on saying it was okay to get mental health. He had talked to his ex-wife at the time. She knew the demons that he was dealing with, wanted to help him get through, shine light on this important issue, and said, I'll sit in interviews with you on your book tour to help highlight this issue, to talk about how you struggled, how you overcame this, and we'll talk about some of the bad times and how you overcame this. And so that's what that was. They were literally doing these interviews together. She was supporting him. They're close friends. Their current spouses are friends with each other. This is not an ex-wife that's upset with their ex. They're friends, they support each other, and yet this is what his opponents are doing to him.
And that's why, what I mentioned, they framed that up. You can't see in that ad that Herschel Walker is literally sitting right beside her. And this was a joint interview that they had done together. They don't want to show you that because that would actually break their point that they had worked this out. And this is all about mental health, which was his book was about. And to your point, how important for more people who struggle with mental health, especially someone who is a professional athlete, to come out and say, this was bad.
Well, and that's the thing, is that his whole goal at the time was to say, hey, if you're struggling with mental health, there's a stigma around asking for help. I want to help eliminate that stigma. And so I'm going to come out, I'm going to show you that it's okay to ask for help. And here he is having his ex-wife say, I want to help you do that. And yet it's now being turned on him. And I hate to say this because I think that what's going to happen now is that people who want to show people that it was okay to get mental health help, are now going to say, wow, look at what happened to Herschel Walker. It was used against him.
That's a good point.
And that's the problem, is that his effort to show that it's okay to reach out is now being used against him and probably hurting. And you know, the interesting about this, we've talked over and over again this cycle how Democrats are funding these candidates and they claim are, you know, a threat to democracy. And here, once again, you have liberals using something that was done for good against against someone, undermining the ultimate goal that they would normally claim was such a good thing. But it's unbelievable the bad that these guys do in pursuit of their agenda, and yet they probably won't get called out for it because they always do things that they believe are in pursuit of their bigger liberal agenda, and the ends always justify the means. And
we know that Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker are supposed to do a debate. Herschel is actually trying to get him to debate in Warnock's home city of Savannah. This is going to come up. How should he handle it in a sense like that? Because this needs to be exposed for what it is.
I think he literally says, "I was pleased and proud to call out and call out the awareness that I was bringing to this, and it's a shame that people are making something bad of this." So anyway, it's horrible. But we're going to have Herschel on the show. All right, before the break, we were talking about that new attack ad that opponents of Herschel Walker are airing. Joining us now to explain is Georgia Senate candidate Herschel Walker. Herschel, good to see you. Before the break, we showed the ad that your opponents are playing, showing your ex-wife, Cindy, talking about you holding a gun to her head. Interestingly enough, we explained this to our viewers. They pulled those comments in that video from an interview that you did together after you published a book about your struggle with mental health and the need for greater awareness. They're using that footage against you now. It seems like there's a lot more to that story that they're not airing.
Well, I'm glad they did the ad, because it'll help me to continue my fight to remove the stigma of mental health, because we do have a mental health problem here in the country. But I'm a living example that you're going to get knocked down, but you can get up by getting help. And I think Cindy and her husband, Neil, and my wife, we're the best of friends. And we continue to do things together to try to remove that stigma of mental health. And right now, the reason they will do an ad like this, because my Senator Warnock has nothing to bring to the table. Right now, he continued to believe in high gas prices. He continued to believe in high inflation. He continued to believe in men and women's sports, where there's a big contrast between he and myself. So they would run an ad like that. But that's why I encourage people all the time to go to teamherschel.com and help me to remove a guy like that from the seat and put me in that seat, because I will always be an advocate for the mental unhealthy, because people like that are struggling. And I would say it like this: I would rather talk to a friend that is struggling than to attend that friend's funeral, because it's very, very important, and I want to remove that stigma of mental health.
That's such an important issue that needs to be more awareness around, so I appreciate you speaking up about it. I know that last week that you came out saying that you would debate Senator Warnock anytime, any place, and the Atlanta Press Club actually took you up on that offer to host a debate. But today you actually turned that down. Why is that?
Well, I don't think I turned it down. The Atlanta Press Club or Senator Warnock turned it down. I still had offered to debate him in Savannah, Georgia, his hometown, on October the 14th on a fair and equitable debate in front of an audience. He wanted to stand behind a podium with no audience, because he don't want to explain to the people of Georgia the reason why he believes in men and women's sports. He don't want to explain why he believes in high gas prices. He don't want to explain in the bills that he's voted on. And that's one of the things I think we got to have, is a fair and equitable debate, which he don't seem to want to do it. I offered 2 debates to him. The first one, I want to do a Lincoln Douglas discussion, and he said no to that. And then I said I would debate you in your hometown. So I encourage Senator Warnock right now to put his big man pants on and meet me on October the 14th in Savannah, Georgia, and let's let the people see that there's a different contrast between he and myself.
So has he accepted any debate so far?
He hasn't accepted anything, because he's scared. You know, he's scared, and he continued to hide behind the elite media. And I'm saying, get out from behind the media and get in front of the people. Don't just talk about it. You got to walk about it. And right now, I say I would debate him in his hometown, in his backyard, in front of people, because debate shouldn't be about the media. Debate should not be about a particular party. The debate should be about the people, because the people are the one that put you in that seat.
So has he said no to your offer? I mean, where do things stand with that offer to debate him in Savannah?
Well, I heard he said no. He hasn't told me he said no, I'm encouraging him all the time. Come home and debate me. I'm giving you everything you want in your hometown in front of a statewide audience. It'll be televised statewide, and I think that's the reason he don't want to do it, because he'll have to explain himself. Senator Warnock right now do not know that it's time for him to go, because right now I'm the right man for that seat. I'm the one that's going to fight for the Georgia people. He continued to fight for Joe Biden, and I think right now he know that I'm knocking on the door telling him it's time for him to leave my office.
Well, it's going to be harder for him to turn down because the Senate is now out for the end of the month. So you can keep pressuring him. I do want to talk about that, though, because he is one of the 50 senators who just helped pass the Inflation Reduction Act. Democrats are going to try to use this in their home states as a huge win for them. How are you going to talk to Georgians about this headed into the midterms?
Well, first of all, it's not a win, because last week I was talking to a lot of business people there in Georgia. I was meeting with business leaders, and they said this is going to hurt their business. This is going to hurt a lot of manufacturers. This is going to raise prices. It's going to raise taxes. And I think that's what Senator Warnock needs to know. So I'm not sure how they think that's going to help them, because right now the business people that I've been talking to here in Georgia said this is going to absolutely cripple the manufacturers here in Georgia.
Hey, Herschel, real quick, Warnock's got a lot of money on hand. He's got around $15 million. Are you guys going to have the resources you need?
Well, we're continuing to get out and raise money. There's no doubt he's going to continue to raise money. But one thing that I think he's not doing is getting out seeing the voters. Right now, I'm meeting with all the voters. I'm listening to the voters. I'm getting out raising money. I don't know if you know, but over the past couple of cycles, I've been in the top 3 fundraisers for the Republican side, which has been good. It's not great, but it's good, because they're raising a lot of money. They can't buy this seat. He thinks he can buy this seat, but he's got to win this seat. He got to beat Herschel Walker. And the way he can do it is, as I said earlier on, put your big pants on, come back to Georgia, debate me, let the people see the contrast between Senator Warnock and Herschel Walker, and I don't think he want to do it.
You're going to give him the Heisman.
Yes, I will.
Walker, it's good to see you this evening.
I said he don't know, but it's time for him to go.
All right, well, good to see you. Good luck on the campaign trail. Thanks for being with us.
J.P. Morgan's CEO is warning that an economic hurricane is coming. Are you preparing? If you don't do anything, your 401k could be a 201k, and that is not good. So call our trusted friends at Lear Capital. For 25 years, Lear has helped investors own gold to protect against market chaos. It's a good thing. They can help you, too. Get your information and up to $15,000 in bonus IRA gold. Just call this number, 800-880-4300. That's 800-880-4300.